in the mud in order to cool themselves down. They also use it like a sunscreen or even a bug repellent, so maybe they're getting ready for their day. Now the black rhinos are the smaller other rhino species. They weigh only about 3,000 pounds. Yes, only 3,000. There's only about 5,000 left on this planet. That's just due to poaching. Poaching is the hunting for their horns. So we do want to try and protect them. Now I do see a bird walking around right up here. This is a saddle-billed stork. There's also a greater kudu on your right side. Greater kudus are one of the taller of the antelopes, standing almost 55 inches at the shoulder. That's a female one, we can tell, because she does not have horns. The males will actually have those very long horns. Going to be nearly 6 foot long in length. Now the saddle-billed stork, you can tell male from female part, because the females have yellow eyes, and the males have black. But they do actually mate for life. So the one that you see over here on your left and the right side, these two are soulmates. How sweet.
A couple, one on one side, one on the other side, and miles apart. That worked well.
And we're now making our way into the Safi River, an aquatic area home to aquatic animals. So we're going to keep our eyes on the water. That's usually where you'll find them. Now the Safi River is home to some like the Nile crocodile, maybe even a Nile hippo. The Nile hippos are really hard to spot. That's because they can hold their breath for almost 8 minutes, and every 8 minutes they come up to breathe. So if you see a shadow under the water, could be a rock, could be a hippo. But if you take a look over on your left side, you'll see a group of hippos underwater. That would be known as a bloat. They communicate with what's like a wheezing sound. They wheeze, honk back and forth to one another. They can actually outrun a human even on the land, so they're fast inside and outside of the water. When born, they're only about 85 pounds, so they're going to be nearly 5,500 pounds. For the males, females are a little bit smaller, at about 4,000 pounds. They're very territorial animals. They're actually one of the most aggressive animals in Africa. So don't suggest going in there with them. It would not be a very pretty sight. Alrighty, coming up on your bottom left-hand side are some Nile crocodiles. They're the largest crocodilian in Africa. They're going to be almost 16 foot long in length. And they do have very strong jaws, in which they use to break things like bones. So we're going to start making our way out of here. Now sometimes you will see them laying on the banks with their mouths open. They're not smiling at you. What they're doing is regulating their body temperature. But now we're headed towards a whole new ecosystem. This new ecosystem is known as the savannas. Now here in the savannas, these animals, they do not camouflage very well. They depend on something else known as their speed. So they must be able to run really fast in order to get away from any predators that could be near. And the savannas is home to some like the Ankole cattle, giraffe, maybe even a zebra. So using that animal spotting guide right above your head, give me a shout. What do you guys want to see? Lion, giraffe, maybe an elephant. I do already see a giraffe if you start looking on your right side. This is what you call the overlook of all savannas. Kind of gives us a sneak peek of what's to come. And one of the best views of all savannas. Now these are Maasai giraffes, so you can tell because of the pattern on their skin. It is more of a rickety pattern in comparison to the other giraffe species. Right beside the giraffe, you also see a couple wildebeest. Wildebeest are the largest herding animals. They actually herd at about 1.5 million. So when born, they must be able to run within an hour, or else they do have the potential to get left behind. Just like those giraffes are actually walking within 15 minutes of birth, running within an hour as well. Now giraffes spend most of their days eating, only about 30 minutes resting. Since they eat so much, they do have a purplish blue tongue. That's just to protect it from the sun, that way their tongue does not get sunburnt. And they only rest in small increments, 2 to 3 minutes at a time. That's because they're most vulnerable while sitting down. It is a little bit harder for them to get up and run, so you might see them sometimes resting while standing up. Coming up on your left side, right inside the den, a couple are outside of the den. There's some African wild dogs, also known as African painted dogs. They're very family-oriented animals, so if one gets hurt, they will not leave that one behind. Each and every one of their fur coats are unique in their own way, so you can tell them apart very easily. But as cute and cuddly as they may look, they're very fierce animals. They're one of the top hunters in Africa. You can see some sable antelopes out on your left side.
Oh, there's a zebra, look.
Aquí se te ve blanquita.
Se me olvidó, huevo.
Yeah, the other one looks like it's garden up, huh?
Ah, ya.
Allá arriba.
Ah, ya. Se trancaron porque estaban las jirafas en el camino.
All right, on your left side you can see some mountain zebras. You can tell because if you look at their neck, they have an extra lap of skin known as a dula, and also they have smaller hooves than the other zebra species. That way they can walk in between the rocks and up and down the mountains. Now some people might ask, are those zebras black with white stripes or white with black stripes? I've actually learned that they are black with white stripes. Oh, it's... Sorry, I just called in because I was kind of worried because that zebra was sleeping the last round, and I was like, I don't know, it's been like sleeping the whole time, and then she sits up right after I called it in. So like, that's why all the trucks are like coming over here, because I like made everybody worried about it, and they shouldn't even been worried. That's why I was like, I shouldn't have called it, but it was the second round I saw it, so like, come on. Thank you, exactly. But I just felt really bad. The poor AP truck right there, she's probably like, really? She's awake. But anyways, there's some giraffes out here. These are Maasai giraffes, like I said. A group of giraffes are known as a tower. They're kind of walking in the road there. Now they only rest in small increments, like I said earlier, but they also have the highest blood pressure of all the animals at about 300, over 200. Humphrey, he was born last June. He's already about 10 foot tall, so he's got a lot of growing to do to be as big as the rest of them. Now his dad's about 19 foot tall. Just so you guys know, the AP came on the radio just now and said the zebra's good, so I was just a little worried. Only about 2 to 4 of them. They'll stay near a female group. That way the females can call them over for something like mating, but once they mate, she actually sends them back on their way. Now the mandrill kind of walked away here on your left side. There's one. They're the largest monkeys and also the most colorful. The males will weigh about 100 pounds. The females will be anywhere from 30 to 40, so females are a little bit smaller. That's one of our younger ones there. And the colorfulness on their face will actually get more colorful as they get more excited. And they have little pockets inside their mouths, kind of like chipmunks, so they can hold snacks for later. Now this is about our halfway point through our journey, so just as a reminder, remain seated, keeping our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck. We're gonna head towards the red clay pits. Sometimes you will see them throwing dirt or hay on their back. They actually do that in order to protect their backs from the sun. And it also cools themselves down, and they'll flop their ears back and forth to cool themselves down as well. On your left and right side, you'll see the baobab trees. Baobab trees are leafless 9 months out of the year. They do hold lots of water inside their trunk. So animals like those elephants or the horned animals can poke holes in them, drinking the water during the drought seasons. Also making the baobab tree known as the tree of life, or some may call the upside down tree because they kind of look upside down as well. Now they will have leaves on it 3 months out of the year. That's only during the winter seasons of Africa.
Wow.
Coming up on your left side are some these are not, I don't know why I keep thinking about zebras. These are some flamingos. They are the greater flamingos. They are the tallest of all the flamingo species. Might see a couple of them there, kind of gray or have gray legs as the younger ones. They turn their full pink colors at 18 months old, and they turn their pink color from the shrimp that they eat, which contains beta carotene. And a group of flamingos is known as a flamboyance. Now, if you want to see some lesser flamingos that are a little bit shorter but much pinker in color, they're at the very front of the park, right in front of the Tree of Life, where you can earn your flamingo badge as well, or right if you're 7 months old. Hi guys. Now, a group of rhinos is known as a crash. That's because they can't see very well. They do tend to run into things, not because they're violent, but more because they're clumsy. As you see, though, white rhinos are not really white, they're muddy. They get their name from a mistranslation of the Swahili word vite, spelled V-I-T-E, meaning wide, because they do have a wider jaw than the black rhino, so it would be a white rhino. Yeah, we're talking about you. Now, they run pretty fast. They run about 30 miles per hour. Pretty animals, like the lion up there. Now you can tell it is a male because of his mane. His mane can weigh almost 40 pounds by itself. I felt like he was going to roar, but he didn't. Now the male lions, they actually don't do any of the hunting. The female lions will actually do all the hunting. He'll do all his hunting at night. That's because the female lions will do all the hunting. She'll do all her hunting at night. That's because her night vision is 6 times better than a human's. You can see a water buck right over here on your right side. They spend their days near and around the water. They do really like the water. There's also a bontebok on your right too. The bontebok was almost extinct in the 20th century. Only about 17 left of its kind. So one farmer gathered them all up. They began to breed. Now there's about 3,000 left under reserves, just like this. Which kind of shows you how one person can make a difference, just like you. And you'll see the other females sleeping right over here. Really hard to see. Right behind that log there is a warthog. You can see his little tusk hanging up. Warthogs are the largest burrowing animals. They'll dig their burrows going in backwards, using their tusks to protect themselves. Very fierce animals. Now you're probably thinking, ooh, Pumbaa. Pumbaa's actually the Swahili word for foolish. They're not very foolish animals. They're very fierce animals. You'll see the bontebok again on your right, but you'll also start to see some ostrich eggs. Those ostrich eggs weigh about 3 pounds each, and they're so dense that a grown man could stand on them and they would not break. Now, not all the ostrich eggs will hatch, only about half of them will, because only about half of them are fertile, just like
That was fun.
Ay, mira, no puedo sacar ahora.
Another one, ready? Hold on tight. Hold on tight.
Ay, yo quiero estar más tirado. Agachate.
You think Mama can see us? You think she can see us out there?
Tú estás mojado, ¿no? Estás mal tirado.
Whoa, what a bump, huh?
¿Eh?
I got soaked.